The Concorde had underestimated humanity for too long. Every calculation, every projection, every prediction had failed. Humans had proven that unpredictability, courage, and determination were stronger than even the most advanced technology. Commander Evelyn Cross stood in the Andean base, her eyes scanning the holographic display of the orbiting Concorde fleets. Red dots marked human forces moving into position, hidden from alien sensors. Blue dots marked the scattered Concorde ships still trying to regain control. "This is it," she said quietly. "Our final push. The last strike that will remind them what humans truly are." Dr. Marcus Hale beside her nodded grimly. "Every team is ready. Every unit is in position. We've trained for this moment our entire lives." Evelyn's gaze hardened. "Then let's show them that freedom is not given. It is earned." The plan was bold, almost reckless. Human forces would strike at the heart of the Concorde's operations, the command nexus, a massive orbital station controlling fleets' energy lines and surveillance across Earth. If humanity succeeded, the Concorde would lose their grip entirely. If they failed, Evelyn refused to think about failure. As night fell over the Andes, hidden launch sites came alive. Orbital drones, retrofitted cargo ships, and human fighters moved silently through space. Every movement was calculated, every maneuver precise. Marcus monitored energy fluctuations. "Shields are weaker than expected," he reported. "We can penetrate them if timing is perfect," Evelyn smiled. "Then we take the shot." The strike began with a synchronized attack from multiple vectors. Pulse drones disabled external sensors, creating temporary blind spots. Railguns fired from hidden satellites, cutting precise paths through the command nexus's shields. Human fighters weaved unpredictably, drawing enemy fire away from boarding teams. Inside the station, Concorde soldiers were caught completely off guard. Their training had not prepared them for humans who adapted instantly, improvised in seconds, and acted without hesitation. Evelyn's voice echoed over comms. "Move fast. Strike hard. Remember, humans do not surrender." Boarding teams infiltrated the station with magnetic grappling systems and stealth pods. Corridors once guarded by lethal energy fields became traps for the Concorde. Humans used pulse disruptors to shut down weapons, EMP devices to freeze systems, and calculated diversions to confuse enemy patrols. Every step showcased humanity's greatest strength: creativity. Where the Concorde relied on rules, humans relied on ingenuity. Where the Concorde expected obedience, humans relied on courage. Outside, human forces targeted energy relays controlling the fleets. With precision strikes, entire sectors went offline. Concorde ships began drifting aimlessly in orbit, unable to communicate or coordinate. For the first time, the aliens realized the scale of human defiance. Commander Vereen stared at the feeds, his expression unreadable but tense. "They fight with chaos and courage," he muttered. "Systems are not enough to control them. They are different." An aide replied, "Sir, their resilience is unprecedented. They adapt faster than predicted." Vereen's calm mask slipped. He did not speak again. Inside the command nexus, human teams reached the central control core. Engineers attached pulse devices that would overload the station's systems. Soldiers secured corridors to prevent counterattacks. Evelyn watched the live feed from the base. "Now," she whispered. Marcus triggered the overload. Systems sparked, lights flickered, and alarms screamed. Concorde shields collapsed. Energy surges cascaded through the station, disabling weapons and communications. The human boarding teams moved swiftly, neutralizing the remaining alien guards. In orbit, Concorde ships went dark, unable to coordinate or defend themselves. Humanity had won the battle for the command nexus. The victory was not without cost. Several boarding teams were lost, their ships destroyed or stranded in orbit. Pilots sacrificed their crafts to save others. Engineers worked tirelessly under fire to prevent complete energy failure. Every human victory carried a price, but every sacrifice reinforced their determination. Evelyn bowed her head for a moment. "We honor them," she said softly. "Their courage made this possible." On Earth, the news of the victory spread in whispers. Hidden human networks transmitted updates secretly, avoiding Concorde detection. People in cities, towns, and villages felt a surge of pride, courage, and hope. Humanity had struck back, and the Concorde could no longer hide the truth. For the first time, humans saw themselves not as subjects or dependents, but as masters of their own fate. The Conquered, reeling from the loss of the command nexus, attempted a counterstrike. Fleets regrouped and launched attacks against human positions, but the humans had anticipated this. Hidden bunkers, underground railguns, and orbital defense satellites had been prepared. Every assault was met with precision, every strategy countered with adaptability. Humans had learned from months of observation, sabotage, and training. The Concord, for all their technology, could not predict human instinct. Evelyn coordinated the final phase. "We hit their retreat fleet," she instructed. "No mercy, no hesitation. They underestimated us for the last time. Orbital strikes disabled Conquered engines while boarding teams captured critical vessels. Human fighters maneuvered around them using speed, agility, and clever tactics. The Conquered soldiers realized too late. They were outmatched by beings they had once considered primitive. Humans did not fight for survival alone. They fought for freedom, for dignity, and for the right to define their own destiny." Commander Varine watched as his fleets collapsed. His expression was calm now, but his mind raced. For centuries, his species had encountered countless worlds and countless species, but none like this. Humans were not predictable, not controllable, and not weak. They anticipated thanks, he said quietly, almost to himself. But humans responded with retribution. Even in defeat, he recognized something profound. Humans were extraordinary. Back on Earth, Evelyn addressed her team after the final battle. "Tonight we have reminded the galaxy what it means to be human. We have proven that no force, no matter how advanced, can break the spirit of a species determined to remain free." Marcus smiled. "And we did it together. Every engineer, pilot, soldier, and citizen played a part." Evelyn nodded. "Yes, we are humans. And humans do not bow. We do not surrender. We do not forget." The Concord fleets, weakened and scattered, began retreating from Earth orbit. Their grip on the planet loosened. Humanity reclaimed its skies, its cities, and its power. In the days that followed, humans dismantled Concord surveillance systems, restored independent energy grids, and reopened communication networks. The Conquered had brought technology, food, and medicine, but humanity reclaimed it on their terms, no longer dependent, no longer subjects, no longer silent. Evelyn stood once more on the ridge outside the Andean base, watching the stars. The silver Conquered ships that had once loomed above Earth were gone. The sky was clear, the night calm, and the future uncertain, but it belonged to humanity. She whispered to herself. They expected thanks. They expected obedience. They forgot that humans repay kindness with courage, and betrayal with retribution. Marcus joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "We've earned our freedom," he said. Evelyn smiled, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "Yes, and we will protect it, always." Across the world, humans celebrated quietly but powerfully. Communities rebuilt, children played freely, and leaders reclaimed their roles. Humanity had survived famine, war, and disease, but now they had survived the test of the stars. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of a species that refused to kneel. The Conquered had learned that humanity could not be predicted, controlled, or broken, and in every heart on Earth, one truth was clear. Freedom was never given. It was earned by courage, ingenuity, and relentless will. Commander Evelyn Cross stood in the Andean base one last time, looking at the operational map of Earth and orbiting space. Red dots representing humans pulsed brightly. Blue dots, the remnants of the Conquered, were few and scattered. She whispered softly, almost as a promise. "The galaxy will remember us. They will remember that humans do not thank chains. Humans repay retribution, and we will never forget what it means to be free." Above her, the stars shone brightly, silent witnesses to the courage, ingenuity, and determination of a species that refused to bow. Humanity had fought. Humanity had bled. Humanity had won, and the galaxy would never forget it. In the early years of the Galactic era, humanity was still new to the stars. They had just joined the great coalition of sentient worlds, a group of hundreds of alien races working together for peace, trade, and knowledge. Humans were the youngest members. Many older races saw them as impulsive and emotional, sometimes too brave for their own safety. But one race saw something special in them, the Thalran. The Thalran were not like any other known species. Their bodies were made of glowing crystal that shimmered with colors like living stars. They spoke through music-like tones that translated into gentle voices. They were kind, patient, and peaceful. When Earth launched its first colony ship, the Dawn Voyager, humanity believed it was their first big step into the galaxy. Thousands of humans left their home dreaming of new worlds. But fate had another plan. Only 2 weeks into their journey, the ship faced disaster. A sudden solar flare from a nearby star destroyed its main power systems. The ship's engines failed, communication went silent, and its life support began to weaken. The crew tried everything. Engineers worked day and night trying to restart the engines. But the radiation storm was too strong. The colonists began to lose hope. Then out of the empty darkness came a ship of light. It moved gracefully like a comet and surrounded the Dawn Voyager with a golden field that blocked the deadly radiation. The human crew stared in disbelief as strange figures appeared on their screens, tall, radiant beings with crystal bodies glowing softly. They were the Thalren, and their leader introduced himself as Lyra of the Luminous Heart. His voice was calm and musical. "Do not be afraid, travelers from Earth," he said. "We felt your distress through the currents of the stars. You are safe now." The Thalren ships towed the Dawn Voyager to a nearby system. For weeks they repaired the human ship, shared energy crystals to power its life support, and healed the radiation sickness of the crew with their advanced medical light. The humans were amazed. The Thalren refused any payment or trade. When Captain Marcus Lee tried to offer rare Earth minerals as thanks, Lyra only smiled. "Kindness given freely is its own reward," he said. "Someday you will do the same for another." When the Dawn Voyager finally returned home, the humans carried more than gratitude. They carried a story that would be told for generations. Years passed. Humanity grew stronger and spread across the stars. They built colonies, trade stations, and fleets. They learned from many species, but the memory of the Thalren remained deep in their hearts. Schools on Earth taught children about the hand that reached out. It became a symbol of friendship between species. Statues were built on the Moon and Mars showing a human hand reaching toward a glowing crystal hand, the sign of unity. But time changes everything, even kindness. 100 years later, the galaxy faced new troubles. Trade wars, political arguments, and border conflicts began to tear the coalition apart. The Thalren, who had always avoided war, remained peaceful but isolated. Their homeworld, Prime, was beautiful, a world of shining crystal forests and silver seas that reflected the light of 2 suns. But behind its beauty, something dark had begun. A strange stellar plague appeared, a wave of energy that drained life from the Thalren crystals. At first it was small, then entire cities began to fade. The Thalren's inner light, the very essence of their being, dimmed. The coalition sent medical ships, but when they realized the disease could not spread to other species, they slowly withdrew. One by one, the allied races turned away. They had their own problems, their own fears, and soon, the Thalren stood alone. Lyra's descendants tried to contact Earth. At first, the messages were weak, broken data, static-filled calls for help. Then the signals stopped altogether. Many in the coalition believed the Thalren would soon vanish, just another species lost to history. But on Earth, in the quiet halls of the Terran Historical Council, a young woman named Elena Ward found an old recording. It was the message of Lyra, the one who had saved the Dawn Voyager centuries ago. His glowing image spoke gently through static. "Remember this, humans of Earth, kindness is a light. Pass it on when the stars grow dark." Elena played that message again and again. She felt something deep inside her, the same loyalty humanity had carried for generations. She was an officer in the Terran fleet and she knew what she had to do. She gathered a small team of scientists, engineers, and medical experts. Together, they designed a plan called Mission Luminance, a mission to travel to Prime and offer help, no matter how dangerous it might be. Many leaders on Earth objected. They said the mission was too risky, too expensive. The plague could be dangerous. The Thalren were already lost, but Elena refused to listen. "These are the beings who saved us when no one else did," she said firmly. "They gave us life when we had nothing to offer. We cannot forget them now." Her words spread across Earth's networks. Millions of humans supported her cause. Volunteers signed up to join Mission Luminance. Children drew glowing pictures of humans and Thalren together. People sent messages saying, "If they supported us once, we will support them forever." Finally, the Terran Council gave approval. The great ship Solace of Dawn was prepared, equipped with advanced medtech energy systems, and a new kind of reactor designed to study energy-based life. As the ship launched into space, Elena stood at the viewing deck watching Earth shrink behind her. The stars ahead shimmered like distant fires. "We're coming, Eliar," she whispered. "Humanity remembers." The journey to GalacticPrime took 3 months. Along the way, the crew studied ancient data about the Thalaran, trying to understand their biology. They discovered that Thalaran energy was not just light. It was emotion, memory, and consciousness blended together. When a Thalaran's inner light faded, it was like their soul dimming away. When Solace of Dawn entered the Thalra system, the crew gasped. The once bright world was covered in shadows. Crystal towers that once glowed across continents now stood dull and lifeless. The seas had lost their shine. Elena gave the command, "Open communications." A weak signal answered. It was the voice of High Keeper Eris, one of the few Thalran still bright enough to speak. His voice flickered like a candle. "Humans, you came?" "Yes," Elena said softly. "We came to help. We remember what your people did for us." There was silence for a long moment. Then Eris whispered, "You remember kindness, even after centuries?" Elena smiled gently. "Always." The transmission ended with a faint sound that might have been laughter or tears. It was hard to tell. The solace of dawn descended through the dim skies of GalacticPrime. Thousands of faint Thalaran gathered, their bodies barely glowing. When the ship's lights touched them, some began to shine just a little brighter, as if hope itself had power. For the first time in decades, the Thalaran saw ships arrive not for profit, not for study but for friendship. Elena stepped onto the planet's surface, her boots crunching softly on crystal dust. The Thalaran around her bowed their heads, their dim lights flickering. In that moment, humanity and the Thalaran stood together again, one remembering kindness, the other feeling it returned. Far above them, the stars watched silently. And though no one yet knew it, this single act of loyalty, one species answering another's kindness, would soon reshape the entire galaxy forever. The air of GalacticPrime shimmered faintly as the solace of dawn settled on its surface. The once bright world of light and harmony now stood dim and silent. What was once a planet of music and radiant color had become a place of whispers and weak glow. Captain Elena Ward stepped down from her ship. Her boots touched the crystal ground softly, making small echoes across the empty plain. Around her, the Thalaran stood, tall figures of pale glass, their light barely alive. Their once colorful bodies now flickered weakly, like candles in a storm. One of them moved forward, his body glowing with the faint hue of blue. He introduced himself in a gentle voice. "I am High Keeper Eris," he said. "Welcome to GalacticPrime, Captain of Earth. It has been a long time since the stars brought visitors here." Elena bowed her head respectfully. "It is an honor, Keeper Eris. Humanity remembers your people. Long ago, the Thalaran saved one of our first ships when we were helpless. We are here now to return that kindness." Eris tilted his head slightly, his light flickering in surprise. "You remember that? After so many centuries?" Elena smiled softly. "We never forget kindness. You once gave us hope when we had nothing. Now it is our turn to give it back." Around them, the other Thalaran murmured softly. Some of their bodies glowed a little brighter. Hope, faint but real, began to awaken among them. Inside the solace of dawn, human engineers and scientists worked quickly. They unpacked machines, energy converters, and medical modules. The ship's corridors were filled with light and movement. Teams moved between data terminals scanning the environment. Dr. Samir Patel, the ship's chief biologist, studied a glowing crystal sample under a scanner. The readings made his face tighten. "Their structure is collapsing," he said. "Whatever this plague is, it drains the inner energy that gives them life. It's like their souls are fading." Elena watched quietly. "Can we stop it?" Samir hesitated. "Maybe. We need to understand the energy inside them first. It's not just physical matter. It's something living and emotional. Their light reacts to their memories and feelings. So the more hopeless they feel," Elena said slowly, "the weaker their light becomes." Samir nodded. "Yes. In a way, they are dying from sadness and fear, not just disease. Elna looked out through the glass wall at the fading city beyond. Tall crystal towers stood like broken mirrors reflecting the dull sky. She clenched her hands. Then we'll give them a reason to hope again. The first days were hard. Many of the Thalren were too weak to move. The human crew worked side by side with them, carrying equipment, building shelters, and setting up energy stations. Lieutenant Kara Jenkins, one of the engineers, spent hours connecting reactors to the Thalren's old power grids. When one of the systems finally came alive, the lights of a nearby district glowed faintly for the first time in years. The Thalren children stared in wonder as soft light filled their streets again. Elena stood with Aris, watching the children's faces. The small glow from their bodies slowly brightened, like flowers opening under sunlight. "This is only the beginning," Elena said quietly. "We'll bring back the whole city." Aris turned toward her, his body flickering with emotion. "I never believed the stars would send anyone. The others, they promised, but they never came." Elena looked at him, her eyes calm. Humans don't break promises. Days turned into weeks. The humans learned more about the Thalren every day. Their energy flowed like emotion, connecting each being to others around them. When one Thalren felt strong, others nearby brightened too. When one dimmed, others followed. Samir and his science team began building a device to stabilize this energy. They called it the Luminance Core, a crystal engine that could copy and strengthen the Thalren's natural light. It was difficult work. The energy patterns were delicate, but humanity had something the galaxy often underestimated: creativity. They used music, light, and even human emotion sensors to shape the energy flow. At night, when the planet's twin suns set, the humans gathered with the Thalren. They played soft earth music, shared food, and told stories. The Thalren listened with quiet fascination. One young Thalren named Lyra asked softly, "Why do humans care so much for us?" Elena smiled gently. "Because when we were lost, your kind cared for us. You didn't ask who we were or what we could give. You just helped. We learned something important from that. When someone gives kindness, you must pass it on." Lyra's body shimmered faintly with pale yellow light. "Then maybe the stars chose you for this." Weeks later, the Luminance Core was ready. The device was placed in the center of the Thalren capital, a grand plaza surrounded by crystal towers. As the machine started, a hum filled the air. Waves of golden energy spread outward, touching the nearest Thalren. Their bodies brightened slowly, then more brightly. The glow spread from one to another like fire passing through glass. Aris raised his hands, his light shining pure blue for the first time in years. "It is working," he whispered. Elena smiled, tears in her eyes. "We did it." The entire city began to glow. The ground shimmered, the towers sparkled like new stars, and the dark sky reflected their colors. The Thalren sang, soft harmonic notes that filled the air with music. It was the sound of life returning. For the humans, it was the most beautiful thing they had ever seen. But not everyone in the galaxy was happy about it. Far away, on a coalition communication relay, messages began to spread. The Council of Worlds received reports about the Terran mission. Some alien representatives grew uneasy. "They are interfering with a natural collapse," one delegate said. "They are gaining too much influence," another warned. "First the Thalren, next they will take leadership of the coalition." The news of the Luminance Core spread quickly. Some praised humanity for their loyalty and compassion. Others saw it as a dangerous rise in power. Elena and her team knew nothing of this. They continued their work, building more cores and studying the strange connection between human emotion and Thalren energy. One night, as Elena watched the glowing horizon, Samir approached her. "Do you ever think," he asked, "that this might change more than we expect?" Elena nodded slowly. "Yes, but I think it's time the galaxy remembered what real friendship looks like." After 3 months, the Thalren cities were shining again. Their songs filled the air and their light could be seen from orbit. Highkeeper Aris called for a grand gathering. In the center of the capital, both Thalren and humans stood together as he addressed them. "Once we gave help to the humans when they were weak. We never asked for anything. And now, when all others turned away, they returned to us, not with ships of war, not with demands, but with open hearts." He turned to Elena. "Captain Ward, you have given us life again. You have reminded us what hope feels like. We are in your debt." Elena shook her head. No, Keeper Eris, this isn't a debt. This is what friends do for each other. Eris smiled, his light shining like a rising sun. Then from this day forward, the Thalran will stand with humanity. Always. Cheers and music filled the plaza. For the first time in generations, the Thalran danced, glowing beings of pure light moving with joy. The humans watched, smiling and clapping, some even joining in. Above them, the stars sparkled brighter, as if watching and approving. But far beyond those stars, messages moved quietly through the darkness, between powerful worlds that saw humanity's growing influence as a threat. They have united with the Thalran, one alien leader said coldly. Their technology is spreading faster than ever. We must watch them. Yet among the people, a different message spread, one of hope. Across colonies and space stations, humans and aliens repeated the same words. They supported us once. Humanity remembered. And in that simple truth, the galaxy began to change, and one act of loyalty at a time. The cities of Thalra Prime were alive again. Crystalline towers gleamed under the twin suns. Streets reflected light like rivers of glass, and the soft music of the Thalran filled the air. Humanity had arrived and rekindled hope where darkness once lingered. But the work was far from finished. Captain Elena Ward stood on a balcony overlooking the capital city. Around her, the human crew moved through the plaza, adjusting energy nodes and checking the luminance cores. The hum of machinery blended with the soft singing of Thalran citizens, creating a harmony unlike anything in the galaxy. Dr. Samir Patel approached, holding a tablet filled with energy readings. The cores are stable, he said. But I think there's more we can do. The Thalran light is growing stronger, but it can be multiplied if we connect the cores into a network across the planet. Elena's eyes brightened. A network? You mean a web of energy that touches every city, every community? Samir nodded. Exactly. If we link them, their entire world will not just survive, and it will thrive. And we might learn how to amplify their energy in ways no one has imagined. Elena smiled. Then let's do it. Humanity doesn't do small gestures. We aim for the stars. Over the following weeks, the human and Thalran teams worked tirelessly. Engineers, scientists, and medics traveled across Thalra Prime, setting up new luminance hubs in every city. The Thalran children helped as well, learning to focus their energy to power small lights, gradually building confidence in their own abilities. Lieutenant Kara Jenkins coordinated the installation of the hubs. She marveled at the way Thalran energy interacted with the human machines. It's like they are alive, she said, and they understand what we're trying to do. Elena watched as one young Thalran, barely glowing, placed her hand on a hub. The device hummed softly and a ripple of golden light spread across the city. The other children clapped, laughing, their lights dancing with joy. Elena realized that hope was infectious. When the Thalran felt safe and cared for, their energy responded in ways even science couldn't predict. High Keeper Aris observed the work with a mixture of awe and humility. Your people are remarkable, he said to Elena one evening. You did not come here for profit, for study, or for power. You came because you remembered what we once did for you. Elena looked at him, her expression serious. And that is exactly why we will succeed. We cannot let your world fade, not when the stars themselves have taught us how important loyalty is. Eris's body flickered, a pale blue glowing brighter. Then together we can achieve what neither of our species could do alone. As the network of luminance hubs grew, something incredible began to happen. The Thalran energy not only strengthened locally, but also began to resonate with human devices. The scientists discovered that human thought patterns and emotions could enhance the core's energy. When humans focused on positive feelings, hope, courage, gratitude, the luminance cores glowed brighter. It was a revelation. Humans were learning to interact directly with Thalran energy. Dr. Samir explained, we are not just supporting them. Together we are creating a new kind of energy, one that connects minds, hearts, and light itself. Elena realized that this was something far greater than saving a single species. Humanity's loyalty and creativity had sparked a kind of living energy network. It was as if the bond between species could now shape the very fabric of their world. Not everyone in the galaxy welcomed these developments. The coalition of worlds began to pay closer attention. Some alien representatives expressed concern that humans were gaining too much influence over a major species. Rumors spread that Earth was using the Thalran recovery as a way to expand its power. Yet, despite the skepticism and whispers, humanity continued to work without hesitation. They had no interest in control. Their only goal was to restore life and light to those who had once saved them. One day, a delegation of alien ambassadors arrived near Thalra Prime to inspect the Luminance project. Elena greeted them with calm respect. "Captain Ward," said Ambassador Rilth of the Vexari, a reptilian species known for cautious diplomacy, "we have observed your actions. Humans are assisting the Thalran, yes, but some worry about the consequences. Your influence grows quickly." Elena responded without defensiveness. "We do not seek influence. We seek only to repay a debt of gratitude. If the galaxy sees that as something more, it is not our doing. We only answer kindness with kindness." The ambassadors paused, uncertain. Even though they were experts in politics and power, they could not deny the sincerity in Elena's eyes, nor the visible proof of thriving Thalran cities. Meanwhile, the Thalran began to feel their strength returning. Elder citizens who had been dim for decades now glowed with vibrant light. Communities came together in song and celebration. Farmers used the luminance hubs to restore crops. Engineers rebuilt entire cities, and children laughed in streets that had been silent for generations. High Keeper Eris addressed the human crew one morning. "You have done more than save our lives. You have restored our spirit. And that spirit, it is spreading," Elena nodded. "That is what we hoped for. Light grows stronger when it is shared, and hope is strongest when it inspires others." For the first time in centuries, the Thalran could see a future filled with brightness and opportunity. The past, while full of sorrow, was no longer their only story. As the months passed, the humans and Thalran began to explore new possibilities. The Luminance network could power entire cities, transport energy across vast distances, and even store memories and knowledge. Thalran scholars discovered that when humans interacted with the cores, their creativity and problem-solving accelerated. Together, they began designing new technology that combined crystalline energy with human innovation. One scientist exclaimed, "We could use this to terraform worlds, to generate energy for entire star systems, even to improve the health of other species." Elena smiled. "And all of it started because we remembered a simple act of kindness. That's the power of humanity." The Thalran, grateful beyond words, offered what they could in return. They taught humans about the flow of energy, the art of harmonizing with light, and the connection between mind and crystal. While they lacked the ability to travel the stars as humans did, they shared knowledge that could advance humanity in ways no other species could. Together, the collaboration between humans and Thalran created something no one in the galaxy had seen before: a living bridge of cooperation, where technology, life, and emotion merged. One evening, as Elena walked through the city, she saw a group of Thalran children practicing their songs beside a glowing hub. Their lights danced in patterns she had never seen before. A young Thalran girl approached her and whispered, "Thank you for remembering. We almost forgot what hope felt like." Elena knelt down, holding her hand gently toward the girl. "You don't need to thank us. You saved us once. Now it is our honor to be here with you." The child's glow brightened noticeably, as if absorbing Elena's words. Around them, the city shimmered in response, proof that even a single act of care could ripple across an entire world. But the galaxy beyond Thalra Prime continued to watch. Some remained wary, believing that humans might be using the Thalran as a stepping stone to greater power. Others quietly admired humanity's loyalty and courage. News of the mission spread like starlight across colonies and stations. People of every species shared the story of how humans remembered a kindness given long ago and returned it with unmatched dedication. Even the youngest humans on distant colonies learned the phrase, "They supported us once." Humanity remembered. It became more than a lesson. It became a promise for the future. As Part 3 closes, the stage is set for something even greater. The Luminance Network is no longer just a project. It is a beacon of collaboration, a living symbol of what humans can achieve when they combine loyalty, courage, and creativity. The Thalran are recovering, their cities are shining, and humanity has begun to reshape the galaxy not through power or fear, but through trust and remembrance. Above Thalra Prime, stars twinkle like witnesses to this union, and somewhere deep in the galaxy, Those who doubted humanity began to wonder if the universe itself might be changing because of the actions of one species who simply never forgot a single act of kindness. The recovery of Thalra Prime had become the talk of the galaxy. The once dim planet now glowed like a beacon among the stars, thanks to the luminance network and the combined efforts of humans and Thalran. What had begun as a mission of gratitude was transforming into something far greater, a demonstration of what true collaboration could achieve. Captain Elena Ward stood on the observation deck of the Solace of Dawn, watching the radiant city below. The twin suns of Thalra Prime cast brilliant light on the crystal towers, which shimmered in colors humans could barely describe. Dr. Samir Patel joined her, tablet in hand. "The energy readings are off the charts," he said. "Every city hub is synchronized. The Thalran energy is fully stabilized, and the cores are more efficient than we ever imagined." Elena nodded. "This is more than stabilization. This is renewal. They trusted us once, and we've responded. Now the galaxy can see what happens when kindness becomes action." The humans weren't alone in witnessing the transformation. Other species in the coalition of worlds began to pay attention. Some were curious, others suspicious. The Vixari, a cautious and analytical species, had initially doubted humanity's motives. Yet even they could not deny the results. Ambassador Rilth visited Thalra Prime personally. Standing in the plaza surrounded by glowing Thalran and human engineers, he watched as light spread through the city, responding to the movements of both species. "This is extraordinary," he said quietly to Elena. "Your people have done more than save a civilization. You have created a living network that changes the way energy, life, and thought can interact." Elena smiled gently. "We didn't do it for admiration. We did it because it was right. The Thalran helped humanity when we were helpless. We remembered. That memory guided every choice we made." Rilth's eyes flickered with approval. Perhaps the galaxy underestimated the power of loyalty, and humanity has proven it can be more influential than we thought. The Thalran themselves had begun to adapt to this new partnership. Highkeeper Eris called a council meeting to discuss the next steps. "The luminance network has restored our world," he said. "But it is more than restoration. It is opportunity. Humans have shown us a new path. Together we can extend this light to other planets and species who need help." Elena listened, her heart full. "We never intended to lead. We intended to respond to a debt of gratitude. But if we can help others, then we should do it." Eris's eyes shone bright blue. "Then let us not wait. Let the galaxy see what friendship can accomplish." And so began the Concord of Renewal, a new alliance led by humans and Thalran. Not through conquest or politics, but through loyalty, collaboration, and innovation. Together they created a plan to share luminance hubs with neighboring systems, offering aid and energy to worlds struggling with natural disasters, famine, or technological collapse. The first system to benefit was Zyphora, a mineral-rich but environmentally damaged world. Thalran scholars taught the local species how to stabilize their energy grids, while humans introduced adaptable engineering solutions. Within months, Zyphora's cities shone brighter, their skies cleared, and trade began to flourish once more. Other species, witnessing this, sent delegations seeking assistance. Many were surprised when humans refused payment. "We are not here for profit," Elena told one council. "We are here because the Thalran once helped us. And we remember." Word of humanity's loyalty and selflessness spread like starlight. It inspired hope across colonies and worlds, even in places long forgotten by the Coalition. Back on Thalra Prime, the collaboration continued to evolve. Thalran scholars and human engineers worked together to expand the luminance network. They discovered new applications, energy fields that could stabilize weather, medtech that could heal species with unique biological systems, and communication networks that allowed mental and emotional synchronization across thousands of miles. High Keeper Aris marveled at what he saw. "Your species, your ways, are unlike anything the galaxy has known. You do not merely invent, you imagine. You see opportunity and kindness," Elena replied softly. "It's in our nature. When someone helps us, we respond. When someone inspires us, we create. And when the galaxy needs hope, we do our best to give it." Not all reactions were positive. Some older coalition members grew concerned about humanity's growing influence. They whispered to each other, questioning the intentions behind Mission Luminance and the Concord of Renewal. "They are spreading faster than expected," said one ambassador. The Thalren have no other allies now. Soon humans will hold the keys to their power and knowledge. Yet even those wary voices could not deny what was happening. Humans did not act out of greed or fear. They acted from loyalty and creativity, and the results were undeniable. Entire worlds were thriving because humanity remembered what it meant to repay kindness. As the Concord of Renewal expanded, humans continued to refine their collaboration with Thalren energy. They discovered that human emotions, when focused collectively, could amplify the cores even further. They called it resonance focus, a method where humans and Thalren could synchronize thought and light, producing energy far beyond the sum of their individual efforts. Elena demonstrated the technique with a small team. Standing in a circle with Thalren leaders, she asked them to think of the moment they had first helped humanity. Together they focused on hope, gratitude, and courage. The effect was immediate. The luminance core in the plaza glowed brighter than ever, sending pulses of golden light across the city. Buildings that had been dull began to sparkle. Children laughed as their lights danced. Even the skies seemed to shimmer with new color. "This is incredible," Samir whispered. "It's like the energy is alive, and alive with trust, memory, and unity." Elena smiled. "It is alive, because kindness, once remembered and acted upon, always grows." The impact of these actions reached far beyond SciFi-Prime. Humans and Thalren received messages from distant worlds, asking for guidance, aid, and collaboration. Some worlds had suffered natural disasters, while others were struggling to stabilize their energy systems. Everywhere they went, humanity answered with the same principle. They supported us once. Humanity remembered. Even species who had previously doubted humans began to change their minds. They witnessed that humanity's loyalty and creativity could turn a dying world into a thriving one, without coercion, without force, without fear. The galaxy began to see humans not as impulsive newcomers but as leaders of hope, exemplars of courage and fidelity. Elena often walked through the now glowing streets of SciFi-Prime at night. Observing the harmony between humans and Thalren, she saw children learning to harmonize their energy, scholars developing new technology, and citizens singing together in celebration of life renewed. One evening, she stopped near a luminance hub and watched as the lights responded to a group of humans and Thalren laughing together. The pulse of energy reflected not only life but connection, a reminder that memory and gratitude could shape the future. High Keeper Aris joined her, his body glowing brightly. "Captain Ward," he said, "you and your people have done something extraordinary. Not only have you saved us, but you have shown the galaxy a new way, a way that does not rely on force but on remembrance, collaboration, and hope." Elena nodded. "That is all we ever hoped for. The galaxy can survive and thrive if we remember what kindness feels like and act on it. That is the power humanity carries." By the time months passed, the Concord of Renewal had grown to include multiple worlds. Energy hubs had been established on several planets, and human Thalren teams traveled between systems teaching, helping, and creating sustainable solutions. Wherever they went, people witnessed not just advanced technology, but the humanity of action, the choice to repay kindness, to remember past help, and to respond with loyalty and courage. Stories spread throughout the galaxy of how humans saved the Thalren, rekindled entire cities, and created a network of light that could change the lives of millions. Children learned the tale on distant planets. Teachers shared it in schools. Artists painted glowing murals of humans and Thalren standing together. And everywhere the same lesson was repeated. Kindness remembered is power. Courage multiplied is influence. Loyalty sustained is legacy. As Part 4 concludes, the galaxy begins to understand the deeper truth. Humanity's greatest strength is not in weapons, politics, or wealth. It is in the memory of acts of goodness and the courage to respond to them. The Thalren, once fading, now stood stronger than ever, their light shining brightly across SciFi-Prime. Humans, inspired by loyalty and creativity, had not only saved a species but had shown the galaxy a new way to lead, with compassion, honor, and memory. And in the quiet of the night, above glowing cities and shimmering fields, stars twinkled like witnesses, as if acknowledging that something remarkable was taking root. The galaxy itself was beginning to change because one species never forgot a single act of kindness.